Hello, everyone. Welcome to the SCOPES Education Report. Appreciate you all being here. My name is Liz Whitewolf. And can you all see my slides? Great, awesome. So just wanted to share today about where we've been and where we're going with our SCOPES education project, but also our other educational projects here at Fab Foundation. So again, if you haven't filled out the survey, please feel free to do it as we're speaking. It might be appropriate because we do ask for feedback during the survey. I'll share it again at the end of this meeting as well. But welcome everybody. I'm happy to see faces here that I haven't seen in a year and faces that I have seen over the year and some new faces. So welcome. So my name is Liz Whitewolf and I'm the K-12 Education Director at Fab Foundation. I joined Fab Foundation a little bit over a year ago when right when COVID started is when I started. So that's how long I've been here. I've been virtual the entire time. The Fab Foundation is located in Boston and I live in Pittsburgh. So I'm a good 8-hour drive to the office, which I don't go to very often. So there we go. These are the other players on our team: Sonia Pryor-Jones, Alethea Campbell, who is out on maternity leave, and Aiden Milani, who is probably here. I think I saw his name pop up. Can you wave, Aiden?
I can say hello. Hello, everyone.
Let's just imagine Aiden is waving. I'm sure he is. And over the last year or so, the Fab Foundation has been thoughtfully integrating our education programs. Before I came on board, the Fab Foundation had a lot of different educational programs kind of under their own headings, as it were. And we've been collating, like combining them, let's say, over the past year or so. So we've developed this portfolio of services where we kind of house all of our educational services under one department, the K-12 education department, which is pretty exciting. So some of the things that we now offer together are consulting and design, development and training, and student programming. And this is the kind of what we do when we work directly with schools, or when we work with school districts, or even when we work with university partners or out of school time providers. So this is kind of our base for what we do now as a K-12 education department at the Fab Foundation. We've also spent about a year and a half, ever since I got here, I guess, coming up with kind of our theory of improvement. So we've developed some thinking around how our framework should work in education. This is primarily formal education. And our aspirational statement is that digital fabrication technologies have the potential to support authentic student learning through open-ended collaborative project work centered in culturally reflective teaching and learning. And that's our aspiration for all formal ed. And if we go down to the bottom of our theory of improvement is it's all kind of based on constructionism. Constructionism being the theory that students build their own models of knowledge, and they learn best when they share those models of knowledge with other students doing projects. So it's a theory that came out of the constructivist movement, but it's a Seymour Papert theory. And he conveniently came out of MIT, and that's also where the Fab Foundation came out of. So a little bit more about our pillars. Our pillars are these gray pillars that are holding up our aspirations. And specifically, these are what we've come up with. And this is a working model. We've been developing this for a while, and we are constantly talking about it and developing it as we go. But the pillars that we see for success in this educational framework are dedicated time and space, a thoughtful design process, student-centered approach, local and global connections, and of course, content integration, one of my favorites. So this is how we are approaching all of our educational service work, also all of our outreach work. Also, we're trying to approach all of our projects, even our internal projects, this way. Taking time to identify what of this educational framework we are able to meet with our services or needs or projects, and kind of where we're falling short. So it's almost it's a theory of improvement, but we also use it almost as an assessment or a little checklist to see how we're doing in our own internal work as well. And I thought I'd share it with everyone because we haven't shared it on the website yet. And someday soon we will. We're a little bit slow sometimes in our share outs, but this is what we're using internally to kind of calibrate our work in digital fabrication. And I've been asked to go back one slide. Yeah, this meeting is also being recorded and will be on our YouTube channel afterwards. So feel free to pause on the YouTube. All right, so one of the projects, of course, you all know, hopefully, that's why you're here, that we do at Fab Foundation, the SCOPES project. And SCOPES stands for Scaling a Community of Practice in the Education of STEM through Digital Fabrication. It's actually SCOPES DF, but we call it SCOPES for short. And that's what I'm going to share pretty much with you all today to see where we've come over the last year or so. So this is a snapshot of our site users. ScopesDF.org is our main community of practice site. And this is a snapshot of our users over the past month. Our main users most of our users, 30% are from the United States. And these are the top 10 countries. So United States, India, Mexico, Brazil. It's like the Olympics, but for Scopes. So we are an international presence, but we're really working hard to build that international visits as well as presence. And you'll see in a few couple ways we're trying to do that. This represents our membership growth over the past, I put before 2020. So the Scopes website itself was launched in 2018. And over the past 3 years, we've come from 837 registered members to 1,205 as of June 31st. So we probably have a few more now. But in order to interact with the website as it is, one usually needs to, actually, if you want to comment or make a lesson, you have to join as a member. And we've made joining a lot easier because you can join through your Google account now and you don't have to create a bio or add a picture or make any selections about yourself as a user. So it's been easier to join the website, but on the flip side, looking at our community has been more difficult because a lot of Google users haven't entered any information. So looking at a community of practice for its members is a little bit harder because we don't have a lot of pictures for some people. And you can also join from you should be able to join from a mobile device. CAPTCHA, yeah. We added CAPTCHA over the past year. And here's, in short, I'm answering a question from the chat. You got CAPTCHA because we did have quite a few robots or spammers that would join and then make comments on the lessons about selling whatever it is they were selling. And so we added CAPTCHA, and that's really kind of nipped that in the bud, and we really haven't had that problem since then. I know it is an extra step for real people, but I feel like the ROI is pretty big on that. Teresa, did you have your hand up? Okay. So I'm happy with our membership growth, but I do feel like we could as community members share more about ourselves and our work. Oops. So as you know, the ScopesDF.org website is a pretty vast lesson repository for digital fabrication tools and technologies. And in fact, when we started, we had just over 100 lessons, and now we're up to 292 as of the end of June 2021. So the lessons are vast on the website, and it's really exciting. A lot of that growth has happened between when COVID hit and now. It was amazing the response we got from the community when we started asking for unplugged lessons or lessons that centered around design versus using the tools, because students were away from their tools and often teachers were away from their tools. So it was really great to see all the lessons come up between when COVID started and kind of now. Not only unplugged lessons, but also traditional hands-on in-class lessons as well. Maybe that's because teachers had a little extra time, but I don't think so. I think they were definitely flooded with trying to do virtual teaching and in-person teaching. And everybody was looking for a solution to these STEAM makerspace classes and what they could do with the kids. So it was really neat to see the creative solutions that our community came up with. And we're still growing. We're getting lessons every day still added to the website. We've also, over this past year, really blown it out of the water for blog posts. We had 10 over the last year, which is a record high for us. And these are some of our highlights. Blog posts are available on the website and you can go and read them, and they're kind of linked. Sometimes they're linked to lessons, but if you haven't seen our blog post, one of the most interesting things to read, I find, is these. We had an intern for probably 3 months from Oberlin College, and he was responsible for doing some lesson inventory on the site, which I'll talk about a little bit later. But he wrote a 3-series blog post titled 100 Lessons in 100 Days. And it was very, very helpful and eye-opening for me. And I really appreciated his reflections on reading through these 100 lessons in 100 days. And this is a student, an undergraduate student who came with little to no digital fabrication experience. And after his 100 days diving into the SCOPES lesson, has learned a lot and had some really good reflections on it. So if you haven't read any blog posts and you're looking where to start, I would recommend that blog post series. We also have a really good series about interviewing women in STEM, and that was during March for Women's History Month. It was a great series as well. Something else we've added over this past year, in fact, I think we debuted this during Fab X last year, was our new Facebook group called Fab Educators Network. And this has grown to a little bit over 150 members. And it's a private group on Facebook, but anyone can join, and I will approve you, I'm sure. But it's a place to share and ask questions. One of the challenges we have at SCOPES DF is commenting and getting responses to comments is not very common on the site. So we thought a little bit quicker way for people to integrate, to talk with each other is Facebook. On the other hand, we also still have the live FabLabsIO site, which we've kept posting on throughout the year. This is the site that the conference is on, for this year. Of course, you hopefully have all visited it. That's probably how you got here. But we've been posting on that site almost the same as Facebook to keep people interested and invested, and especially those people who aren't interested in being in a Facebook group, which I know are quite a few of us. But we have over 200 members on the FabLabsIO site, and the content is pretty similar between the two. So if you're not comfortable on Facebook, then check us out on FabLabsIO. We're the Fab Educators Network. If you go over to the groups to the left-hand side of the page, you'll see groups. Click on groups, and that will be us. We're in there. It says 242 members. We're probably at more than that. I think I took the screenshot a while back. So those are 2 other ways you can engage with us. Some pretty exciting news is happening, and I was hoping this would happen on Monday, but it looks like it will happen in a couple more weeks. We're getting a refreshed look on our website and some new features that will be a little bit easier to integrate. And some of those improved features are the lesson search functionality is very cool. What you can do now when you search for a lesson is you'll start typing a lesson, and the search categories will auto populate with lesson titles. So if you're remember a lesson is maybe titled birds, it will pop up with all sorts of different choices. You can also still filter by age group and subject matter and tool use. So those things have helped as well. And then you can also search by I'm trying to say standards. Which is helpful. That whole search functionality is a big thing. We're really excited to see what you all think when we get this out. And I'll e-blast you when it comes out, but it's on its way. The other thing is we'll have an announcement banner at the top of the page that we can change. Right now it says COVID. It has COVID updates on it, but it's something that we can keep updated, like we would write here's a link to Fab 16. This is what we're all doing this week, or something simple and an easier way to communicate in a timely manner with our community. What's nice is there's a translation widget in the banner. And so that will stay permanently. So you just click on the translation once, and then the entire site will stay in that language, whichever language you've picked for the rest of the time you're navigating the site, which we think is important. Again, we're trying to open up and be more responsive to our international guests, our international members, sorry, not guests. There's also a nice featured lesson that will be on the front page. So if you have a lesson that we feature, not only will your lesson be on the front page, but your standard bio pic will be on the front page. So I encourage everyone to update your pic. This screenshot that you see here in my slide is a screenshot of the new community page. And what a nice feature of the community page is it's now sorted by most active at the top. So you'll see here, these are back in, I think, May, these are our top 8 most active people on the site. You can see Aiden's there, look. And again, I encourage everyone to update your picture on your account, because when you get onto this top site by being active, we will see you when we click on community. And if you're not there, it'll be a blank circle. So please take some time and do that. Another thing about our website is our lesson builder tool. We added a field, and you may have noticed this because we added it a while back. We added a field for learning objectives, because we noticed when we started assessing all of the lessons on the site that a lot of them didn't incorporate learning objectives naturally. And there wasn't really a space that prompted people to think about that. But what we really want to do is have people that are uploading lessons think about, what is it the kids are learning? We know what they're doing. They're building a blank, but what are they learning while they're building a blank? So we thought adding learning objectives as a field was an important step towards that. And then a kind of another big change, which you may have noticed if you ever are a lesson uploader, is we've changed all of the grades over to ages. So now if you go onto the website and you add a lesson, you'll see grade ranges like 8 to 11 and 11 to 14. I don't remember the bands, but previously we had grades, and those grades were US centric. They were very confusing for some some people. So we took some time to go through all of the lessons and port them over from grades to what we hoped their intended ages were. So if you have a lesson on the site that you haven't seen in a while, go back and visit it and make sure that we got that age band right, because if we didn't, you can change it yourself as an editor. But we tried our best to figure out what the grades originally meant. And now when you go ahead, when you upload a lesson, you have a choice of grade bands. So it's a lot more straightforward. In the old tool, you would just type in your own grades. And again, that got a little messy because people would just type in all sorts of grades. And so we would have overlaps. It wasn't very clear. So now you have a multiple choice of which age band you'd like. So I think that's going to really clean up our, you can also sort lessons by ages, which is super helpful too. And that, again, that's been a feature on the site for a while. I just thought I would share it with you now. So here and we're going to get some feedback from you all for the remainder of this meeting. But these are some of our upcoming priorities in the SCOPES world and kind of the education department world. One thing that we started doing, and we've been doing this for a while, it's slow work. Our intern really helped out for a while, but again, he had to go back to class, is going through each lesson that's on the site and running it through a rubric. So we're calling this a lesson inventory, and this is all, we got through about a little bit over half. So I would say 140 or so lessons have been inventoried so far using this rubric. And the point of doing the rubric is to kind of see what's out there. You know, this is an open source platform, so anything can be on there. And we just wanted to have an idea of where the quality lessons were and where the lessons that needed a little bit more oomph were. And also looking forward, what we would really like to do, I think I have this on here, new theme bait. We'd like to do some on-ramps for new teachers or teachers who are new to the technology. And some of the lessons on there are great as is for new teachers. And we'll pull some of those out and make a new special collection for teachers that are new to the website or new to these tools so that they can get on-ramped quicker. We're also going to kind of create almost like a learning progression from lesson to lesson, so that if you're writing a lesson or if you're doing a lesson and maybe that lesson doesn't detail the steps needed to do the Tinkercad design to make your whatever it is, but it can link to another lesson that has that kind of detail in it. So the idea is that lessons can build off of each other, and you can be following a lesson and be like, I have no idea how to run the laser cutter, but click on here and here's a really good lesson or even a short video about how to run this laser cutter. So right now there's really none of that overlapping or web building for these lessons. And that's something that we're hoping we're able to do once we get an idea of what types of lessons. Could you pull a question is, could you pull together a suggested 5-day summer camp or weekend camp schedule? That's really interesting. I like that question. Please put that on our survey. But yes, that's the idea. Something like, here's a great learning progression for kids. Here's a really good starter. Next. And I would say out of our 270 lessons, we could put together quite a few 5-day summer camps. There's a lot on there. So it's just the process of going through lesson by lesson is slow. But something good happening is we're getting a new Maker Fellow Vista. We're getting a Maker Fellow Vista, not that we've had one before. And this person will be with us from August to August. And they'll be working on 2 projects. And one of those projects is this kind of inventory and getting these lessons webbed together and linked, and putting this new on-ramp for new teachers together, but also maybe, as suggested, putting together hey, here's a summer camp special collection as well. So we're really excited to have this person to work on this project as well. And thank you to Citizen Schools and Makers Plus Mentors program for that. I know Stephanie's on this call somewhere. All right, another thing that we're working on is we're updating the Fab I Can statements to include SEL competencies. And if you're interested in this particular priority, then come to the next session, which is at 3:15, where we're talking about it. And we'd love some feedback on that. If you've noticed social emotional learning going on in your Fab Lab, or if people are asking to see what's happening in your Fab Lab, is there SEL? Yes, we've noticed that there is, and we did some work to investigate that over the past few months, and we'll share about that in the next session. And then, of course, I'm asking you all as our community what we can do to improve our services, or our service to improve the community, to build towards this community of practice across the community. And you can write it in your survey, but we do have time here in this to open it up. So let me just make sure. I'm going to go through this next slide about ways to get involved, and then I'll open it up for questions and suggestions, and I'll start writing things down, and it'll be great. But I know you're wondering how you can get involved. So this upcoming year, we're looking for more input from our community members, and input and sharing, specifically under the blog posts. And these are some categories that we're interested in sharing, and not just us, but other community members are interested in hearing and learning. Integration strategies, culturally relevant strategies, especially new maker spaces in schools. This is a big one. We get contacted a lot with new maker spaces, and it would be great if we had some experienced people who have written blog posts that we can kind of point to. Of course, complete the survey. I can say it again. In fact, I'll probably put it in the chat again. Oh yes, I will. Here it goes. Yeah. Okay. We're also looking for community members to do webinars. I see that we have Teresa Lampe here. She did one for us. Thank you, Teresa. But if there's something cool that you're doing in your makerspace, or something innovative, or something that you'd like to learn more about, contact me. My email's here at the end. We are really interested in hosting webinars with community members. Also, just sharing out about webinars that you may be doing already. So if you're hosting some training for your particular teachers, but you're willing to open up to the community, that can be shared with us, and we can put it on our eBlast and soon on our new interactive website, and we'll be able to get more people to that webinar. But either way, we're looking for ways for teachers to connect, or makers to connect around this. So, and then of course, lesson plans. We're always looking for more lesson plans. And in particular, we've noticed in the first half of the lessons that we've inventoried is that we have a need for young learner lesson plans. We don't have a lot of K to grade 2. So those are the types of lesson plans that we're looking for. We're all, as usual, looking for all sorts of lesson plans. But in particular, if you have young learners, or if you know somebody who uses digital fabrication tools or technologies with young learners, this would be a great need on our website. We're also, as I said earlier, updating the Fab I Can statements to include SEL. And you can sign up for our mailing list. If you are not on our mailing list, you probably don't know it. But if you are, you do know it, because I sent you an email like every day this week with the educational programs to see during FabX. So if you are on it, you know you're on it. If you're not on it, then please join us. We don't send that much out. I try to do, oops, I was going to copy that. I try to do a quarterly email blast, and it usually arrives around the quarter. It's very loose. But I also tend to blast when there's a new opportunity, or this Fab 16 week I'm sure has filled your inbox. But I like to try to get everyone excited for this week. So those are some ways that you can get involved. But again, we're looking for feedback about from you, and how the SCOPES community can be bigger and better and support getting these tools into the schools and helping kids more. So that's my formal part of the presentation. I'm now going to stop sharing my screen and encourage us all to, there we go. Now I can see everyone. Encourage some question and answers. I have about 30 more minutes. So question and answers or suggestions. And let me see if we've missed anything in the chat. Fab Lab Winam has said they have been having challenges in rolling trainings in schools. Rolling trainings, and what are best practices to access schools. So that's been signed out. Can you guys still hear me? Okay. That was weird. Well, I guess we're all sharing Zoom accounts, so maybe it's not that weird. At least I'm still here. All right, so the question is, what are best practices to access schools? Those are, that would be, I guess, from a community center. Fab Lab Winam, can you share about your question?
Yes, thank you so much. My name is Martin Olok from Fab Lab Winam, based in Kisumu, Kenya. And we've been having a lot of challenges in introducing the STEM classes to children in schools, because especially when you're dealing with schools from low class areas like slum and all that, they really don't have access to this, and then the teachers are not very supportive to that, so you won't be even given a chance to have time with kids. And of course, since COVID happened, schools closed for a very long time. So right now they spend a lot of hours in school. So you can also not take their time over weekend to do anything with them. So my biggest question is, what is the best practice that can help me to win to have teachers have a buy-in so that they can support this program? Because we are hoping that probably we can arrange something like a club in school. So we run our trainings during club hours. Thank you.
Who can answer that question? I know that we have some community labs on here that do have
It's a
successful
tough
programs working
question.
with schools. Antonio, yours is a community lab and you try to work with schools, right? What about Nathan? I see Nathan's on this call. He's hiding. And Aiden is I'll shoot this one to Aiden. He runs our mobile lab in Boston, and they integrate directly into the school day. Aiden, if you could talk a little bit about that.
Sure. As long as everybody can hear me, okay. So what we do for our model is we try to integrate with schools and students depending on the amount of time that the school is able to provide us. So sometimes we're in schools for 1 week, sometimes 2. On rare occasions, we're there for 3 weeks. And depending on the amount of time that we have with each school, we're able to go a little bit deeper with some of the training. So in 1 week model, we're typically there sharing with students about how to make a keychain or something quick using either a 3D printer or a laser cutter. For 2 weeks, it goes a little bit deeper. And sometimes we're sharing the pros and cons or the different things that each of the machines can do. And then in the 3rd week, sometimes we're developing a lesson where we are working with the teacher who we are partnered with there. And we are developing a lesson and teaching that lesson with teachers in the school itself. So that's the model that we've adopted with the mobile Fab Lab in schools in the Boston area over the past few years. But I'm excited to hear what other models each of you have as well.
Is anyone able to get students from a school to your lab?
I can speak a little bit. I don't know the name of the person in charge of Fab Lab, Winham.
Martin.
Martin?
I think, right? Martin?
Yeah.
Martin?
Yes,
Olu?
you're right.
Okay.
Martin Olo.
Olo, I was close.
I don't know the culture of Kenya. I don't know what are your how are your schools organized, but in Portugal, the way we work is that the schools ask us to build projects, because inside of the school, the Portuguese schools, there are projects, but they are not so open. They are very guided. So they are not projects. They have already a list of things to do, and then they follow that list and do it. But what schools ask us to do is to build projects for the school, for the students, and we work with the school and the teachers and build a project where the students are going to build their own activity, their own outside of the box. So we put a problem and they come up with a solution, and the solution can be very different from one group to the other. We are going to have a new opportunity because we are going to install a Fab Lab in a school, inside of the school. Our Fab Lab is outside of the school, but next year we are going to start. For us, is a new thing because it's to organize a Fab Lab in the school, because we have this problem in Portugal also. Students are a lot of time in the school, so they don't have time to come out and go to our Fab Lab. So we have a few students that do it, more or less 10 students each year. But we work more or less with 150 students each year, because we work with the schools, inside the schools, doing workshops and projects. So that's the way we do similarly to what Liz talked in his presentation, but we do it inductively. That is, we start with concrete things, and then we end up with the abstract and concepts and content. So we start always to do things, they do things, then we slowly go to the concepts and contents and try to link them to the contents of the school they are learning already. So generally, that's what we do.
Nathan, did you get your audio back?
Yes,
Really?
sorry everyone.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't want to go over too much, but I think that what's been said is pretty accurate for our experience as well. Education is very messy. And so we often work with different groups in different ways. So we do, because time kind of divides our world, you know, work in days and weeks. And, but we might have programming here on site that's our own programming, where we are hosting families and students here, and we kind of manage that process. We also do a lot of offsite programming. In fact, the majority of it, 95+% of it's offsite. And some weeks it may be during the school day, some weeks it may be during the after school time. And so we're just very, very flexible, very, very adaptable to whatever the partner that we're working with needs. And kind of similar, I think it was Aiden that was talking, you know, we're generally doing, you know, we like to get at least 9 hours of classroom time if we can. 12 is really preferable to really do a full project, but sometimes we only get 3. And so we adjust project scope and scale accordingly. We know those programs aren't as impactful, but we do what we have to do to be as impactful as we can and as accommodating as we can. So hopefully that helps.
There's there's a question from Ui. I'm sure I'm not pronouncing the name right, asking about kits. That's been, some of you have had experience with doing kits over the last year, especially during COVID. We at Fab Foundation have not done kits. What we did to work virtually with students was give the, we'd still work with classes, and we would take the tool itself and bring it directly to the teacher's house. And the students would work with us and the teacher in a kind of a co-teaching method. Aiden was always involved in this. And then the teacher themselves would print out or cut out or whatever it was, the projects, and organize a kind of pickup day at the school. So that was our kind of solution to kits. Yeah, we never got involved in kits. I think, has somebody else here?
I've done kits. Now, what we had to do, I run middle school makerspace after school programs. We did kits because we did hybrid and virtual last year, and our students obviously weren't coming in. So what we did is we bought Amazon boxes and outfitted them. We work with a lot of low-income students. And so at home, they didn't have things like tape, scissors, you know, and just the things that we wanted them to have. And this is,
Teresa,
of course.
sorry, where are you located, Teresa?
So it
Where are you located?
in
the state?
Hattiesburg, Mississippi, South Mississippi. Okay. And so what we decided is we made a set of Maker Challenge cards, and we sent the boxes we had a whole list of things that was a basic set of tools, and it had things like straws and tape and paper clips and the things that you do low-end maker projects with. So we had these students' parents pick these up from the schools, and if we were in hybrid, they picked them up on the day they were here. Hybrid, we did alternate days of students. And so they had a set of activities they could do at home and at school. And then so we also had things that flowed from at school activities into at home activities. And the students liked it, the parents liked it. And so we're right now going back into hybrid. We've been in school for a couple of weeks. The numbers are so high, we're going back to hybrid next week. And so we will be doing the same idea of maker boxes and maker kits. So, and Liz, I can send the list of the stuff we packed in the boxes and the maker challenge cards to you if you want to get those out to everybody.
That would be great. I was also thinking maybe, we have nothing on our site around kits, and
I'd be glad to share. Be glad
Yeah.
to share.
yeah, that's great, because so many people are using them. Again, we haven't, but there's a lot, and it really depends on, your location and what your interaction is with the schools, but anything I think would help to share.
Well, we had low income students who didn't have even scissors and rulers and things at home. So we felt like to be able to really everybody do the same activities, you have to give them what they need to do those activities. And then we did the thing where they would send me pictures from home. Parents would text me pictures or email me pictures, and we would share them on social media for the school and things like that,
Great.
which the kids like.
Yeah, I will definitely circulate that with our group. That's a good question. Who else has a question? If you've just joined us, we're in the question and answer part, or the question and question part.
Liz, I have a question to Teresa.
Go ahead.
Teresa, you send the kits and you have lessons for them associated to the kits, or it's in the content of the classroom contents, or mathematics or something, science?
Ours is an
How was it organized?
right. We have a little more freedom because we're in an after school program. So, we don't have to tie it as closely to lessons. But I have done a good bit of work with putting maker content with science, mostly science and math content, because I used to teach engineering and I run a mobile makerspace with our district. So we did a lot of work with putting maker with science and math. And I do have some of those. I have one lesson, the pinball machine, on the SCOPES CF website. And I have a couple of others that I really need to put together and put on there too. So.
But they have a problem to solve with
Yes,
those kits,
they have
or
little.
They have a kind of how do you say, a protocol or some experiment to do.
We've done more of the open-ended, just a maker challenge,
Okay.
like build the tallest tower you can build, or a bridge, or a car. That we send a little set of 4 plastic wheels with the axles in the kit that goes home. So they have to build a car. We've done the marble ramps and things like that. So in the after school program, we teach them how to use, we have laser engravers, 3D printers, micro bits and little bits and things like that. And we teach them how to use all these things, and then we help them develop a longer term project. And they have to do a digital portfolio with their project and things like that. We really focus a lot on the 21st century skills in the after school program, because that's where our funding comes from, 21st century programs.
Arundhati, I know that you said you made kits during the pandemic. Can you share about that? You're muted. Did I pronounce your name wrong? Arundhati?
Yes.
Can you share a little bit about the kits that you made during the pandemic and the
Yes,
activities
yes.
that the kids did?
Yes. Can you please allow me to share screen? Actually, I would like to show one video.
Yes.
Yes.
Request and I will figure it out. Have you requested?
Can you allow me to share screen because I would like to share something.
I think
on
I got
screen.
it. Try it now.
Okay, yes. So yes, before that, yes, I'm Arundhati Jadhav from India. I'm working in the STEAM education sector from last 5 years. So basically, I would like to connect the Fab Lab with the STEAM lab and provide the maximum benefit of Fab Lab to the schools. So I have installed 2 to 3 STEAM lab in Government School of India. And right now I'm working in the Innovation Hub in Pune. Basically, we are running a electronics club, robotics club, then STEAM club. Right now, I have opened the STEAM club for the students, and we provided during this pandemic. We made some kits by using the laser cutter and the simple things which we can easily available. And we have opened it in the last week. So I would like to show you that video first, and then I will show you the kit. Just a minute. Yes, so this is what I have designed for the 9 and 8 years old students, and for them I have made one kit. Just to give me one sec, 1 minute.
So that you made one kit for all of those 15 concepts.
Yes.
Wow,
Yes.
that's great.
So this is that kit. Yeah, you can see actually right now it is in packaged form, but these all material is very like you can say the scratch material. So basically the MDF parts are there, the wooden blocks are there, then the small glasses are there. So this all material can be easily available at their home also, but we are providing the same kind of material to all children, but we are conducting the 15 activities from this kit. So there are some mathematic shapes also. So we can take some fraction activity using that shape. Then we can conduct the design thinking activity by using the math ice sticks. Then also the parachute from the different kinds of papers, then paper plates. So using the scratch material, we can perform this activity.
Would you be willing to share that on Scopes as well?
Yes, can you repeat?
Yeah. All right, I will send you an email following this. You and Teresa, both.
Yes, I'll share all the lesson plans of this all activities. Yes, sure.
That's great. That's super helpful.
Yes.
What else?
Also, we have conducted the electronics club also. So we made a kit for the electronics club also, then for robotics club also. So right now we are just busy in doing a kits. So in the last week we have made 200 kits for 200 students. So lots of work done by us.
So there's a question, what is the total cost of the kit?
Yeah, so for this kit, it is around 1,000 rupees. Like 1,000 rupees means.
Somebody do the math for me.
How much is it in euros?
Okay, just give me 1 minute.
I'm doing it on Google right now. 11.47 euro. What is that in US?
13 USD, yes. 13 USD
Yeah.
for one student. The kit cost.
Got it.
But the objective for this club is I will keep same students for next 5 years. I would like to see the change between the thinking of the students. So whether their thinking is going to change by with other students. So basically, these 10 students I have picked from some schools, and their friends also there. So I would like to check the difference between the thinking. So whether it helps to students, team education is really helping to the students or not. Yeah, so basically this is a case study for me.
That's great. Will you be writing up the results of the case study?
Yes, yes. Right now we actually we are making the portfolio of students, and students are doing their work on the web page.
Cool.
Good.
That's very interesting.
We
Very
did
nice
that.
work.
We did data also because data is very important for us and our funding, because everybody wants to know, are you successful? And our second year data that came out at the end of 2020, of course, we were not able to track attendance this past year. The first 2 years, around 50% of the students improved math and science grades in school. Our first year, we were able to track school attendance, and being a part of an after-school program increased in-school attendance because they had to come to school to participate in after school. So it increased school attendance for about 30% of the students in our program.
Wow.
That's great.
Which was big for us. Last year, we weren't able to track attendance successfully because of all the hybrid and virtual and everything. So, but we're working after our third year, which will be 21-22 school year, then all the data will be put together, and then analysis will be published. So
Teresa, how many students do you work with?
I have 5 sites, and some of the smaller sites only have 10 students. My larger sites have around 30 students in the after school.
So 100 students, more or less?
Yeah, about 100
Okay.
students.
Okay.
And we do the same thing. We're trying to keep the same students from year to year to year, which is somewhat difficult, but we do, because we know that if they participate for 3 years in the program, you're going to have a greater effect than if you just participate in 1 year.
Yes,
But-
yes.
What are their ages? Teresa, and I don't know the name of the person from India. Sorry.
Our students are from 12 to 14 years old.
12. Mm.
12 to 14
And
years
and
old.
in India,
In India, yes, right now the different programs for different age group. So basically, STEAM Club is for 9 and 8 years old students.
Okay.
So yeah, so I'll continue with them for 5 years.
Okay,
Wow.
good. Very nice work.
Yes, yes. Also, now one more thing, that the portfolio thing is really helpful to increase our lesson inventory. So what we are doing right now, so we do 2 things, like some classwork and some homework. When students are doing the homework now, then it will automatically increase our lesson inventory. So we are giving the parallelly similar task to students with the different, we can say different format. So I'll give you one example. Okay, so this is the website of my students. So as I told you that we have opened the electronics club for the students. So this is my student. Yes, so these are the activities what she has performed. So now you can see this is the activity 2, the components and it's a symbols. So I told them about 3 to 4 symbols and 3 to 4 components, and I give them as a classwork to explore them, the various component, various symbols of those components. So basically she did these things, and right now this is available on the website, and it will automatically increase my lesson inventory. So this will definitely help us.
Oh, that's neat.
Can you share the link?
Can you share the link? Yeah.
Arundhati? I don't know if
Yes.
there's the way to say your name. Sorry.
Arundhati, yes, it's
Arundhati. Okay.
Antonio, Teresa did for us a webinar on digital portfolios, and it's posted on the Scope site. And it's very similar to what you're doing. You ladies have very similar programs at this point.
You are in
But,
different continents and doing the same thing. Okay,
very different. It's great, actually. I'm going to post a link to the website, to the webinar that Teresa did on the digital portfolios, which is super helpful. We're looking at time where you have a few more minutes, just a couple more minutes. Is there anything else?
Yes. One last thing that yes, last year I have received a Teacher Innovator Award from Fab Foundation, and I have received $1,000. So I would like to tell you about that. So basically, yes, I have conducted a few sessions about how to make a website for a rural teachers. So basically in India, the many rural schools, they don't have web pages for their school. So I took a session for those teachers to make a web pages for their school by using the Google site itself, because they don't understand the coding that much, but Google site is really easier for them. So yes, right now the 5 schools have made the web pages, and it is very helpful to them to promote their school work. So this is one thing. The second thing is, yes, I have adopted 30 students from rural school from that money. So basically, I would like to work with them by using the same money. I have made some kits for those students, and I have sent to them. And during my free work, after my job, I work from them. So yes, thank you, Fab Foundation, for choosing me, for motivate me. Yeah.
I thought I recognized your name. I remember your application. I was on that committee. Aiden and I both were on that committee last year. So it's so good to hear that money is going towards such great work. Thank you so much.
Yes. Thank you.
Does anyone else have anything to share in this last minute? Well, thank you all for coming, and really thank you for answering each other's questions and making connections. That's what a community practice is all about. So stay tuned for our website. We're going to have some guest sharers about kits. Thank you, Arundhati and Teresa. You just volunteered yourselves for that. Appreciate it. And everyone have a great one. Remember, at 3:15 is the SEL and Fab I Can statements if you'd like to come see that. But have a great afternoon or morning or evening.
Nice job, Liz. The Scopes is very well.
Thank you. Nice to see everyone.
Ciao.
Take care.
Thank you so much.
Ciao.
Ciao.
Bye.
Bye.